All right, ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, please. One of the greatest traditions in sports in any league anywhere, I think we'd all agree, is the bring 'em out for your Saskatchewan Roughriders. I'd like you to turn your attention to my left, your right of the stage, and I present to you our new SaskTel Plaza of Honor inductees.
Are you ready?
Up first, offensive coordinator from the 2007 Grey Cup champion team and head coach for the Rough Riders from 2008 to 2011. Let's hear it for Ken Miller.
Let's get it started in here.
Only a handful of dudes have 2 Grey Cup rings. This guy happens to be one of them. 2007-2013 Grey Cup champion linebacker, number 45, Mike McCullough. And this guy's so damn good, we consider him Canadian. 2013 Grey Cup champion, All-Star slot back, and future Hall of Famer, number 7, Weston Dressler. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your 2022 SaskTel Plaza of Honor inductees. You guys can be seated now. And as Mike McCullough quite adequately pointed out, Dressler's the only guy I'm taller than in here tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Michael Ball, voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and it's great to see everyone here tonight in the AGT Lounge as we gather to celebrate the achievements of these 3 amazing men, and in addition, raise money for the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation. This stadium we're in here today, and we'll watch the game in tomorrow, wouldn't be possible without those 3 guys, because they were part of an era that really was one of the best eras in Rough Rider history, at least in my time on Earth, and really got the appetite for these brand new digs that we're in today. I also, when I walked in, just to get off the script for a quick second, saw 3 outstanding former builders here. We got the Grey Cup here in 2022 this year. John Lipp, former president, was a guy that helped bring the Grey Cup here in 1995 and proved to the league we could do it here in Regina and Saskatchewan. This football team wouldn't be here without Tom Shepard and the lottery he put on for a number of years. So let's hear it for Tom Shepard. President when we won the team in 1989. When I draped my rosary over the TV hoping Ridgeway wouldn't miss the field goal. And next to him is a guy who's a tough son of a gun that was in charge of everything in that great era. Jim Hobson, President and CEO, is here today. I would like to acknowledge that our celebration this evening is located on Treaty 4 territory, the ancestral lands of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dakota, and Lakota nations, and the homeland of the Métis. The SaskTel Plaza of Honor Gala, presented by AGT Foods, is the premier event of the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation. Now, the Foundation's mission is to empower our province's youth and strive to ensure that our community programs are benefiting all kids in the province so they can grow up to reach their full potential, become leaders in their own communities, and ultimately build a better Saskatchewan. We're pleased to have our title sponsor and partner, SaskTel, back for another year as well. as the presenting partner AGT Foods with President Murad El-Khatib and his wife Michelle as our 2022 SaskTel Plaza of Honor event co-chairs. And those two are unbelievable in what they do supporting football, the Riders, the Riots, and the Regina Thunder. So thanks to them for their work. And with that in mind, it's my pleasure to introduce you to the president and CEO of AGT Foods, Murad and Michelle El-Khatib, to bring you some words from our presenting sponsor, AGT Foods. I think it's Murad. He looks like high school Murad, looking good today.
Thank you very much, Ballsy. Great to be back here again. Hard to believe it's almost a year since we've all been together, and wonderful to see everybody here today. And we were just talking at our table about the important work that we're all contributing to here, the work of the foundation. And when you look at the description of the work that the foundation is doing, for the benefit of children in our communities, to allow them to realize their full potential, to allow them to be leaders for the next generation in our province. These are all fundamental things that we all value. And we all get a great opportunity as we get together, we get to see friends. We get to celebrate Saskatchewan. We get to celebrate success. And at the same time, we get to raise some money for a very important program. When Michelle and I were asked by the foundation and by Cindy and by Craig to get involved in the foundation in a much more active way, for us it was a no-brainer. Mental health in schools is an initiative that is now being launched actively. We're going to be going out in the next few months, and we're going to be touching communities at every corner and every top and every bottom of this province. And we're going to be addressing something that I believe is one of the most fundamental challenges that we have facing our young people today. And Michelle and I have faced it, as parents. We've also faced it as leaders in our football community. On our way down here today, we were saying that no parent should ever feel the loss of a child. And in our football community in Regina and in region, we've unfortunately lost 4 young men to suicide in the last 3 years. And these are athletes. These are young men that are a part of a football team. They have a support mechanism around them, coaches, all kinds of support. And yet they, suffered with mental health and with illness, and they didn't get the help that they needed at the time. And, those are the kind of things that make an evening like tonight way more important than just what we think when we come here. So, I want everybody to enjoy the evening. We've got 3 incredible inductees, following incredible inductees last year and years prior. So enjoy the evening. Realize that, again, when we call on you, you're coming to the table and you're contributing to really important work in our province, and it's impactful. And the work that the foundation is doing with the money that we're raising, it's not going to administration, it's going to programs. And, again, we'll be excited next year to tell you how successful and how many people we're touching with the programs that are being launched here. So, again, thanks again for all of your support. When I call on many of you, you always answer the call. You always know I'm asking you to come and give money and do something, but you also know that we do the same thing. And so thanks very much. Michelle, do you want to say anything at all? Nope. All right. And thanks again. Have a great night, everybody.
It's my pleasure now to introduce you to the MLA for Regina Wall Shakers, former sportscaster Derek Myers, to bring you some words from our title partner, SaskTel, and the government of Saskatchewan.
Let me just get this up here, Ballsy. Thank you very much. I don't know why your career didn't work out if you're taller than Dressler, but okay. Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to bring greetings on behalf of SaskTel, Premier Scott Moe, and Minister Don Morgan. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are situated on Treaty 4 territory. Over the last 35 years, more than 100 incredible individuals and three Grey Cup champion teams have been inducted into the SaskTel Plaza of Honor for the significant and lasting contributions they made to the Saskatchewan Roughriders and to our province. Now tonight, we're excited to welcome 3 more exceptional inductees and to celebrate everything they have done for the Green and White. And as we heard from Murad, tonight's event is also an important fundraiser for the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation. Like SaskTel, the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation recognizes that our youth are the future of our wonderful province and that every young person deserves the opportunity to reach their full potential. Through education, amateur football, and health programming, they are committed to teaching youth important skills like leadership, resilience, and responsibility that will help them achieve their goals. And I want to thank everyone in attendance. I want to say hi to Coach Dickey, President Reynolds, Hoppy, everybody else that's involved. It's kind of humbling when you get up here and the guys that you covered when you were a sportscaster are now going into the plaza, starting to feel old. It used to be the Alldags and the Polies and guys like that I used to come watch. And the Scott Schultzes, well, that speech might still be going on from a couple of years ago. But tonight's inductees have made their lasting impact on Rider Nation in a variety of ways, both on and off the field in their contributions. Their hard work, their passion, their commitment, each one of them has certainly deserved this honor. This year's inductees to the Plaza of Honor include fan favorites Weston Dressler, Mike McCullough, and as a builder, Ken Miller. Now, all 3 of these men exemplified what it meant to be a rider. So I want to congratulate all of them, and on behalf of SaskTel and the government of Saskatchewan, I extend my sincere congratulations, and job well done, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thanks, Derek. Ladies and gentlemen, before we break for dinner, I'd like to acknowledge the following. The Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation Board of Directors: Pam Klein, Chris Getzlaff, Kent Paul, Craig Reynolds, Foundation Executive Director Cindy Fuchs, Board Chair of the Saskatchewan Roughrider Football Club Barry Clark, and last but certainly not least, the Plaza Planning Committee: Sarah Federico, Marnell Jones, Jillian DeSaltz, Michelle Al-Khatib, Marnie Forsberg, Jonathan Halverson. We know you'll enjoy the delicious meal about to be placed before you. And tonight's program will continue in just a little bit. Thank you and enjoy your meal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if I could get you to take your seats, we're going to get to the rest of our proceedings tonight. First off, a couple of housekeeping things. Let's hear it for the Beagles. And how about we hear it for our kitchen staff and our wonderful servers tonight as well. Want to recognize a couple of builders that I missed at the start of the night. Tom Robinson and Rob Pletch also in attendance. Let's hear it for them too, please. Now it's time to kick off the induction portion of the night. The Plaza of Honor started way back in 1987, and since then has inducted 135 individuals and 3 teams who have all made major contributions to the proud tradition of the Saskatchewan Roughriders Football Club. Tonight, as you know by now, we're inducting 3 more Roughrider greats into the Plaza, 2 in the player category, 1 in the builder category. Through their talents and contributions, both on and off the field, each has forged their own niche in the history of the football club. Now, each inductee will receive a beautiful gold commemorative ring, courtesy of the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation, and their name will be added to the elite list of Plaza of Honor members. I now present to you the class of 2022. First up in the builder category, we have a coach who was the offensive coordinator of the 2007 Grey Cup champion Saskatchewan Roughriders. Of course, he's also the head coach of the Riders from 2008 to 2011. One thing to me speaks of Ken Miller's greatness. I was 4 in 1976 when that loser Tony Gabriel scored a touchdown against us. People still talk about that. I thought for sure that would go away when 2009 happened. We all know what happened there. But I think it was because of Ken Miller and just the great man he was that nobody really wanted to call into the call-in show and bitch and complain about that. So that speaks to his greatness. And he also respected his players to a fault. One time in Hamilton, they're playing the Tiger Cats. Play goes down, and the players all yell, "Challenge! Challenge! Challenge!" Ken grabs the challenge flag and throws it on the field. "Men, what am I challenging?" It's a true story. There's good respect back and forth between Grandpa Ken, as we like to say, and his team. Please direct your attention to the following video on Ken Miller.
The head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders is Ken Miller, and here are the rest of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Like Gino said yesterday, play like you're 8. Have fun. Have fun. I ask you to win it for you. I ask you to win it for your families. And I ask you to win it for each other.
Ken Miller, head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, going to the Grey Cup. You told us yesterday you had a sense that this team could accomplish something special today. Give us all a sense, and viewers coast to coast, what this means to this city and this province to win this game today.
Well, I'll tell you, we are just so happy, so ecstatic. I'm so happy for the players, so happy for our coaches, our organization, and the entire province. Rider fans everywhere.
Ken Miller's done so much in football. He's done so much in sports. He's done so much for people. He's an artist, a husband, just a really amazing gentleman who happened to coach football and do it very well.
You know, he's got a very positive demeanor. He's very cool, calm, collective, and he rarely gets frustrated or flustered. At least not outwardly, but but inwardly, he's always kept things really on a level keel. And I think this is what the players really liked about him, because he was such a cool guy as far as level-headed, and he never got flustered. And that's what I think made the players really want to play for him. He was like a father figure, as a matter of fact. And so the players hate to let him down, and so they really loved the man, and he was a great person.
And he had just this presence about him. He was in the front office at the time. He wasn't coaching, but he had this presence about him that, one, you felt comfortable immediately around him, and two, you felt like you're in the company of someone who really knew what they were doing. Coach Miller always brought to the table, and you never questioned, was his love of the game and his love for his team. I think the guys knew immediately that Coach Miller cared about them, that he wanted them to be successful not only on the field but off the field. And I think that's why he was such a good head coach, is the players and the assistant coaches knew that he cared about his team, not just what they did on the field. He cared about each individual. He got to know each coach individually and each player. And a lot of what I do, I've learned from Ken Miller. And I only worked with him for 1 year. I wish I'd have worked with him for 10. But in that 1 year, I felt like I learned as much or more from Ken Miller as I did from anyone I've worked for my whole life. So he's been a real mentor to me, and he probably doesn't even know how many ways he's helped me personally, and probably helped a lot of players that he coached over the years.
He wasn't, I think, a head coach who's going to be remembered for X's and O's. And again, I don't say that disparagingly. He's a head coach who's going to be remembered for the incredibly tight bonds he formed with the players. And players who would just, I think, do more than they thought they were capable of, because they didn't want to let down the head coach who they not only respected, I think they revered him. I never heard a player utter a disparaging word about Ken Miller in a business where I think coaches are always under scrutiny, whether it's the media, the fans, the players. And as a person, I've never heard a bad thing said about Ken Miller. And the players just absolutely loved him. From the moment he walked into the dressing room every morning as a head coach, and emitted the trademark "Good Morning Riders" to everything he did. He called them the men in the locker room. He treated them like men. He gave them all sorts of respect, I think all sorts of autonomy. His MO was basically the players run the team, not to suggest that they steamrolled Ken Miller, but he wanted to empower the players. He wanted to turn over ownership of the locker room and ultimately the team to the players. And it was an incredibly powerful method, and one that's rather unconventional, I think, in a lot of ways. There was just nothing about him that was headstrong. There was nothing about him that radiated, "I'm the head coach, I'm in charge." There was nothing militaristic or dictatorial about Ken Miller. It was very democratic and very selfless. And it was a method that I'd never really seen before by a head coach. I've never seen one since. And it just worked so effectively. And it served Ken Miller so well in every facet of his life, as a baseball coach, as a husband, I think someone who's just fell in love with a province that he'd never really spent much time in until he became the head coach here. And just a really unique individual and a terrific person. And I'm just so happy that he's in the Plaza, because I think he just represents everything that the Plaza should be about and Rough Rider football should be about.
I enjoyed all my years coaching with the Riders. It was a thrill of a lifetime. But during my time with Ken Miller, I felt more valued as a coach. That was Ken's talent as a head coach and as a man. Thank you, Ken, and congratulations on your induction into the Plaza.
When people feel like you have their back or that you care about them as a person, they want to do well for you. And so I think Ken's likability, his relatability, he was just phenomenal. I don't know if I've met a more emotionally intelligent, tuned in guy than Coach Miller. He just got it.
Obviously, I've been around here a long time, 38 years, and I've gone through a lot of head coaches, and I must admit that Ken Miller is probably on the top of that list. And I think the world of him. I think he's well deserving, and I hope him and Maureen really enjoy this celebration of him being inducted into the Plaza of Honor, because I think he's well deserving.
We have a tremendous opportunity before us here tonight. Tremendous opportunity. Let's seize the moment. Seize the moment. Let's demonstrate our personality, demonstrate our toughness, demonstrate our determination, demonstrate our effort. Man, let's play with all out, one play at a time, win every play, one play at a time for the duration of the game. Let's finish. Let's finish every play. Let's sprint to the football. Let's do a great job with our effort. Man, let's play with great poise, great discipline. Man, what do Riders do? Ride! Let's ride.
And of course, at home, Ken's coach is his lovely wife, Maureen, who was the First Lady of Saskatchewan while they were here, and she still comes back from time to time to stay with Craig Adam and his wife, Deb Duncan, who forgot Plaza was tonight. They literally scrambled at the last minute to get here, so they're here sitting front row, and I know they're happy to be here. Had to get a dig in. All right, let's call up Ken and also Murad and Michelle to present the ring to Ken Miller.
You know, we're all Rider fans, so I'll start by saying, good evening, Rider fans. Well, we can do that a little bit better. Loosen your ties, man. Drop your napkins, women. Let's roll here just a little bit. Let's ride. Good evening, Rider fans. There we go. Now we're cooking. I congratulate Mike and Weston on their induction into the Hall of Fame, into the Plaza of Honor. They are great players, great men. Better than that, they're tremendous players. But most of all, they're great teammates. Great teammates. We should all, whatever our role in life is, whatever our station, in our families, in our work, whatever we do, we should aspire to be the kind of teammates that Weston and Mike are. And let me just be clear. If it wasn't for Mike, if it wasn't for Weston, their teammates in the locker room then, I wouldn't be standing before you now. Where were you 19 years ago? 19 years and 11 months ago. Can anybody tell me where they were 19 years and 11 months ago? I'll tell you where I was. I was sitting on the team bench on the east side of Old Mosaic Stadium at Taylor Field. I was here as a coach with the Toronto Argonauts. And we had just finished our walkthrough day before practice. And I sat on that bench and I just took in the feeling and the sights of that old stadium, the ambiance, and the feeling that I had. And I said to myself, someday I would like to coach here. Now, I'm sure that there was a guardian angel on my shoulder who whispered in my ear, be careful what you wish for. In 2007, Kent Austin, who I had coached with in Toronto, was hired by Eric Tillman to be the head coach, and he asked me to come be the offensive coordinator. You know, my feelings from the nearly 20 years ago came to fruition. It was amazing, that feeling. And now you know the rest of the story. In 2007, we won the Grey Cup. After we won the Grey Cup, Kent ran off to Mississippi, and then Eric Tillman hired me to be head coach. That was a tremendous, tremendous thing. I have and feel deeply blessed and appreciative for having been selected to the Plaza of Honor to be a member. And Maureen and I are thankful for this recognition, and we are sincerely appreciative to the Football Rough Rider Foundation and the Plaza of Honor Committee, and the president of whom right over here is John Lipp. So we're very, very appreciative of those people. Want to say thank you to administrators, the Saskatchewan Roughriders Board of Directors, the President and CEO, Craig Reynolds, and to all the members of the Rough Rider administration. Thank you to former President and CEO Jim Hobson and his wife Brenda. I extend a big thank you to all the members of the administration for providing us an environment that was supportive, helpful, gave us all the resources that we needed, and gave us space to do what it was that we needed to do. In football operations, there are many who provided initiative and support, leadership and cooperation for our success. People in this group include Brendan Tammon, Cheryl McLean-Keel, Craig Smith, Norm Fong, Gordy Gilroy, Dave Dunster, Ivan Goodfriend, Trevor Lind, Dr. McDougall, Ryan Whippler, and Sherry Trapp. I owe a large debt of gratitude to all of the assistant coaches who worked tirelessly to help us achieve our goals and do the work necessary to be successful. Again, I would like to talk about Gary Echeverry, who invited me to the CFL. then coaching with us here in Saskatchewan. I extend a special thank you to Alex Smith, who we saw just briefly in that video. But Alex has no idea how much I relied on him for his expertise at the nuance of the Canadian game. He worked on the defensive side of our ball and was really, really integral in evaluating and help us evaluate the process for getting ready for our Canadian draft. I will mention some names of coaches who coached on our staffs through the years that I was here, who are still coaching in the league. They include Mike Shepard, Paul Charbonneau, Bobby Dice, Paul LaPolice, Richie Nelson, and our very own great head coach, Craig Dickinson. Maureen and I have some special guests here tonight. First, there is Father Tony Deasy, right over here. Father Tony accompanied Maureen to every game when I was the head coach. And during my tenure as that, Father Tony, along with members of the clergy, would often be guests of ours in my office after the games. And fortunately, most often we were able to celebrate. Father Tony, in addition to being a man of tremendous influence in the community, is a man who opened his home, opened his heart, opened his arms for Maureen and me. So, a great man who we truly appreciate for helping us become integrated into that community. Second, our good friends, Craig Adams and Deb Duncan. And they've been talked about just briefly here, but we're happy that they're here celebrating with us. They are a couple who rented to us our first home when we came in 2007. We lived across from the street from them, so they were able to monitor our company and our behavior. In addition to being our landlords, they became great friends. They invited us to many social events where we became friends with many other people in the community. And, you know, Maureen has visited back since our coaching days here much more often than I. Most often, she would come back in conjunction with the dragon boat racing. And Craig and Deb would open her home as a place for Maureen to stay during those visits. And as you know, Craig plays a little guitar, and he sings. And in one of my first gala events was in 2008. Craig was the MC during that program, and he played a song on his guitar, and he sang an original song. The name of that song? A Man Named Miller. I have mentioned Maureen a couple of times, and she is deserving of so much more. You know, Maureen is instrumental in building our relationship in the community and in the province. Her work included, you know, being a volunteer with the Royal Saskatchewan Museum, being honorary chair of the Parkinson's Fundraising Foundation, volunteering at the Wascana Rehab Center with World War II veterans, volunteering with the Red Cross, participating in the inner city reading program at Sacred Heart Community School, and participating at the request of Premier Brad Wall on the Saskatchewan Archives Board. In addition to those things, she was really good at monitoring the newspaper articles I could read. Maureen and I both give our heartfelt thanks to our friends and family in the U.S. who, for a myriad of reasons, who are unable to be here with us this evening, but who gave us tremendous support and encouragement in our adventures as we were able to develop and do the things that allow us to be here this evening. I have two more items as I prepare to finish. First, as a coach, it was my goal to develop a loyalty with the players and other members of the organization. And I wanted that loyalty to go in both directions. So often as coaches, we ask or not just coaches, but people in leadership, we ask for loyalty of the people who work for us or work with us, but sometimes we don't extend that loyalty back. It was important for me to have loyalty that went both directions. It's also my personal goal to respect, nurture, and develop each player's feeling of self-worth, dignity, and pride in themselves, in their families, with their teammates, and with the entire Rider organization. Finally, I thank all of you, and I thank the CFL fans everywhere. Having said that, I believe Rider Nation is the exemplary model of all CFL fan bases. I say thank you, God bless you, go Riders. And now the real acid test of the evening for me is I'm going to ask you, what do Riders do? Very well done. Thank you very much.
And I've predicted the Rough Riders to win by a touchdown because Ken Miller talked to the team today, so that should be enough to push them over the top. Let's hear it once again for Mr. Ken Miller. Our second 2022 inductee is inducted in the player category. This guy, now no disrespect to Ken Miller and to Weston Dressler, two great Americans. The two best Rough Riders of all time have statues out front, and they're Americans. But this guy is what the CFL is really all about. Kingston born, played college in Nova Scotia, drafted in the third round of the 2003 draft to some place he never dreamt he'd come to. He's a true Western producer because 4 of his 5 kids were born right here in Saskatchewan. He's received numerous awards for community service, including the club's Mosaic Community Service Award in 2008 and 2009. He's been in 4 Grey Cups, and there's just a handful of guys, players, executives, that have 2 Grey Cup rings. He's one of them, 2007 and 2013, his last ever football game right here at Old Mosaic Stadium. And maybe the greatest thing about Mike McCullough, other than being a great dude, is that he is still requested in small town Saskatchewan for dinners. He was an 11-year backup, and he still gets requested for dinners, and probably gets paid more than his meager signing bonus back in 2003. Let's hear it for Mike McCullough as we take a look at his video.
With a solid tackle, Mike McCullough drops Henry Burris.
And with plenty of playing time ahead of him, Riders feel this is just the beginning for the 26-year-old.
He's in there, he becomes more confident. And, I think the sky's the limit for him.
Big Charles on the roll, and there's Mike McCullough. Stampeders, and this is picked off. McCullough has the interception. The 11-year veteran with Grey Cup experience in 07, and of course the 2 years in 2009 and 10.
The things Mike McCullough did on special teams were, I think, largely unheralded until you look at the totality of his career and realize that this is a player who is automatic for enshrinement. Not just as a goal watch because he played for the Rough Riders for a long time, but because of what he did. He was a part of 2 Grey Cup champions. He was a part of 4 teams that got to the Grey Cup. He was so important in the community and among the community of players in that dressing room. Just just an invaluable member of the team. And I look at 2013, and that team was largely free of serious injuries. Corey Sheets hurt a knee, was out for about 3 games that year, and that really inhibited the offense when he was out. But the real big injury that year was in Winnipeg when Ray Williams, who was having an all-star caliber season at middle linebacker, blew out a knee. So here you are, just past the midpoint of a season that is to culminate with a Regina-based Grey Cup, and you've lost your middle linebacker who's having a great year. What now? Mike McCullough, 33 years old, someone who to that point hadn't started nearly as often as I think he deserved to that point. But suddenly Mike McCullough is one of the primary options to fill in for Ray Williams, who's having a dynamic season. Well, guess what? The Saskatchewan Roughriders won the Grey Cup, not a newsflash, in 2013, and Mike McCullough, playing a much more accentuated role on defense, was so invaluable that the defense really didn't miss a beat. This is a team that went into Calgary in the West Final in 2013 against this powerhouse Calgary offense that included John Cornish, who was ripping apart defenses along the ground. The Riders won 35-13, and without their starting middle linebacker with whom they'd started the season. And that's the kind of contributor Mike McCullough was, and it's so appropriate that his final CFL game was a great home field Grey Cup victory.
Hey Mike, I just want to congratulate you on your induction into the Plaza of Honor. It is a terrific honor, as you know. Mike was always a terrific football player. He was like having a coach on the field out there with you. He was a guy that could tell you not only his position, but everyone else's position. And it was just a consummate professional. One of the things that I think everyone appreciated most about Mike is his efforts off the field in the community, as well as he was just a terrific father and role model for his family. So Mike, congratulations. I really hope you enjoy the festivities and keep your speech to a minimum.
Congratulations, Mikey, on your induction into the Plaza of Honor. I was trying to think of something smart ass to say, but that was never my strong point like it is yours, so I'll keep it nice. Mike was the kind of teammate any player or coach would want in their locker room. He was dependable, smart, hardworking, and a leader on and off the field. And he made a tremendous positive impact in our Saskatchewan communities. As an example of his commitment, I can remember Mike coming down with a nasty flu and still coming to practice sick, wearing a surgical mask before school. His commitment and dedication was and could have been contagious. His humility, humbleness, and work ethic is what made him a successful player. He did whatever was asked of him and never took anything for granted. At times I knew he was frustrated about certain situations, but never once did he make it a distraction for the whole team, because that is not who he is. Mike is the type of guy that would give you the shirt off of his back and then some. He's genuine and as old school as they come. The man still uses a flip phone, for God's sakes. Mike is a true leader at heart who thinks about much more than himself. There's only one Mike McCullough, and I'm very proud and very honored to have been able to spend 10 years of my career with Mike, in the locker room and outside of the locker room. We've become great friends, and I'm very thankful for it. Again, congratulations, Mike, and welcome to the Plaza of Honor.
Congratulations, brother. I am so happy for you. This is a well-deserved award. Plaza of Honor, Mike McCullough. Congratulations, brother. You deserve it. You deserved it a long time ago, but we're not going to talk about that right now. I don't know who you paid off to get to this, but hey, it happened. We're happy. Everybody's happy. Brother, I salute you. You were one of the finest players on the field, definitely one of the smartest guys on the field for sure. You made a lot of us better out there when you were on that field, and it's my honor to just be a part of this and to wish you well. And I'm so happy and so delighted to honor you with the rest of the people at the event. I wish I could be there, brother, but here's to you. Congratulations, well deserved. Mike McCullough, Plaza of Honor. Salute.
You can't just talk about Mike McCullough in isolation. You can't talk about him strictly within the parameters of football. And that's not to downplay the excellence of the time spent in football, but there's more dimensions to the person than football. And Mike McCullough just exemplified that throughout his career and still does.
You can't win a championship without guys like Mike McCullough. We'll call him forward to get his ring and say a few words.
I'm going to keep this ring on, I think, for a little while longer. Thank God they got my lone interception in 220 games on the highlight package. I said, don't forget about that one. And it's unbelievable. You know, in my career, my 11 years, I had the opportunity to run out of that tunnel at the old Mosaic over 100 times. It was an absolute privilege to have that opportunity to do that. I played 11 years here, straight, one team. I kind of just slid under the radar for most of my career. But, you know, at the same time, I'm very proud of the fact that I was able to end my career the way I did with the Home Field Grey Cup Championship. I knew running out of that tunnel the last time, it was going to be my last time. So it was pretty special and pretty emotional. But, you know, to basically seal it with a victory of the Home Grey Cup, I knew it wasn't going to get any better than that. And the bonus is, you know, when you leave with a Home Grey Cup Championship your last game, people tend to think you were better than you really were as a player. So I'll take it. You know, Dresser, you can have all the all-stars and all the yards. I can't wait for him to get up and speak. He hates this kind of stuff. So I'm going to take 5 of his 6 minutes, and he can talk for about 22 seconds. Obviously, you know, and like I said, be able to end my career the way I did, you know, with my choice, it being my choice to end it, that's pretty rare in this game, and I'm actually quite proud of that. Be able to walk away with a very little pain, but also to be able to walk away on my own and my own decision. So, but obviously, I don't get to where I am without so many people. I could thank all the coaches and thousands of players I played with from high school all the way up to the pros. But the main people I want to thank are at the table right here in front of me. So. My parents, obviously, my mom pushing me. You know, I tried football in grade 9, and my very first day, I was so covered in poison ivy. The coach sat me down after the first 5 minutes, and he said, like, listen, son, you can just watch practice, because I was actually oozing pus from all my poison ivy all over my body. He just said, listen, I don't know who you are, but you can't practice anymore. So I went home and I was basically like, I'm quitting life. I'm not going back. And my mom's like, you're going to go back. So you can do this. And luckily she was there to kind of talk me out of the dark hole. And, you know, thank you for that, Mom. My dad, too, living 2 hours away. You know, he made it every year from grade 9 all the way up to my last year pro. He'd come to at least one game every year, all through high school, out to Nova Scotia, every single year with the Riders. So thanks, Dad, for always supporting me for that. My boy, Scotty Gordon. 2'6". I'm going to keep pushing right now for his induction in the future here. If only he would have some more care for his own body, he probably would have played a little longer. You know, he showed me the ropes the first year, so he kind of helped me get my feet wet in the league. And of course, I'm not going to do what Neil Hughes did and forget to thank my wife at his induction, which he's still paying for 3 years after the fact. Thank you, Laura. You are the glue of the family. Without you, none of this could be possible. You know, I got to have breaks, go away on road trips for a night or two and be with my friends, and she was home with 3, 4, or 5 kids at a time, with all under the age of 3. So we had, you know, 6 different stacks of diapers in every bathroom in the house, you know, according to whose diapers they were. And for about 11 years, she never had a break. So thank you, Laura, for everything, because I would not have made it past the first year without you. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And all my kids, Cole, Joe, Wes, Claire, and Will, you know, they keep me humble. The day before I got the call to go into the induction, we were playing a family game, Catchphrase, where, I don't know if you guys play, it's kind of like a verbal charades. You have teams. It was myself, my daughter Claire, and my youngest Will. And you get something on there and you have to describe it to your teammates and they have to guess what it is. So my daughter picks up the little timer, says, looks at Will, I'm right here, she looks at my youngest Will, goes, Will, it's a game you really love and you're really good at. He goes, football. She goes, yeah, and she hands the timer. I'm like, you know I won 2 Grey Cups. She's like, oh yeah, sorry Dad, I forgot. Like, didn't even think to look at me, but that's how the kids do. They keep me humble, so thank you for that. Thank you to all my teammates, and there's a few here tonight. Claremont, Getzlaff, Dressler, Jeremy O'Day, Scotty Gordon, and then we got Coach Ken Miller, Coach Dickinson, Jim Hobson. All those guys were part of my career in some way or some facet or a certain length of time, and the one commonality between all of them, they're all Grey Cup champions. And that's what the game's about, forging bonds and winning, and that's what we did. Claremont won with the BC Lions. We'll kind of let that one pass, but still a winner, still a champion. So thank you guys, and I love having everybody here, but having those guys here specifically is really special to me to see those guys who, you've been to the trenches with for so many years and went through so many ups and downs with. So thank you guys for coming tonight. And lastly, the guys, Coach Ken Miller. What can you say about Coach Ken Miller? I mean, we absolutely love the man. I wish I had him for all 11 years. Nothing against any of my other coaches, but we all love Coach Miller. And I remember one time, it was 2009, we were playing the 100-year anniversary game with those ugly maroon uniforms that we wore. It was like 35 degrees. It was awful. Of course, I was on punt team. Back up right, Ballsy? Yeah, thanks. And I swear, I always do the counting. I swear I counted 13 players. I counted 3-4 times, and I was like, 13. They have 13. I started looking at the ref. I'm like, they got 13. As soon as I did the ref, they blew the play in, snapped the ball, punt got blocked. And it was from the other side. Thank God it wasn't my side. As soon as the punt got blocked, I turned to the ref and started yelling at him. Didn't even react to the play. Like, I was so mad, I just started yelling at the ref. Montreal recovered the ball, whatever, went on. And after the game, I watched the press conference. I got home, and someone asked Coach Miller about Mike McCullough, and the plays. Like, well, Mike McCullough said there was 13 players on the field. They had 13 players on the field. So, of course, I went home, watched and rewatched that play 50 times. They only had 12 players. I don't know if it was the heat or I saw some helmets. I don't know what, and I thought, oh my! I didn't sleep a wink that night. I was petrified. I went in the next day, like right before practice, and Coach Miller's there, and I just walked up like sheepish as can be and just said, Coach, there's only 12 players on the field. He didn't even look at me. He goes, I know, Michael, and he just walked away. Didn't say anything after that, didn't get mad at me, didn't chastise me, just he knew how bad I felt, and I had to live with that, and it still bothers me to this day to let him down that way. But we love Coach Miller, and just having him as a coach and a leader was fantastic. And thank you, Coach, for always having my back, too. Because, when you're not the superstar, no one really grows up wanting to be right guard punt team. No offense, Dickie, I know you're a special teams guy, but we all want to be the man. Sometimes you got to be the man behind the man, and that's what my career basically was. And I think I did a pretty good job. And then also Weston Dressler, one of my favorite teammates of all time. Like, this guy, everybody makes a joke. Yeah, he's short. Yeah, he's small. Yeah, we know. But, I mean, he would kick anyone's ass in here on the football team. Like, anyone. He was phenomenal. I mean, there was really, pound for pound, there wasn't a better football player, I think, ever in this league. So, and him and I, we trained for many years together. And sadly enough, my Weston is sitting over there. He was born at the end of Dressler's first year. And my wife loved the name Weston. Just loved it. I was like, we can't name him Weston. I'm not naming my kid after a rookie. That's just not going to happen. Of course, my wife won out. And the next time I saw Weston, I think it might have been the start of the next year, maybe in off-season training, I just walked by him, and he had that straight face, just looking at me. And I just gave him the nod. He's like, how's my boy? I'm like, oh, God. It's just a nightmare naming your kid after a rookie. But like I said, one of the greatest teammates of all time and future CFL Hall of Famer. So to go in with these two men, unbelievably special. So thank you for tonight. Thank you, committee, for picking me. There's no take-backs. I already got the ring, so forget you. I know I'm just a space filler between these two greats, but I'll take it. And I'll leave you with the words of a great coach I had once. His quote, which I loved, and I still use to this day when I'm coaching kids, is, be where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there. Get done what needs to get done while you're there. Thank you and good night.
And Rider fans, we should also give a standing ovation to his wife, Laura. No, you see, in the 2007 Grey Cup, Mike McCullough's then son Joe was supposed to be born, and he's all stressing out. He's, should I come back? Shouldn't I come back? They probably checked in with my boss, Paul Hill, because he's good doing this, checking on flights and everything. But then it was decided that he would stay. Laura said, no, you stay and do what you got to do, and I'll stay and do what I got to do. So McCullough is in the hotel in Toronto getting ready to play the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on the phone, probably a flip phone, while his wife is delivering the baby, and he's got to stare at Scott Schultz in boxer shorts. Unbelievable. So yeah, Laura probably should be inducted into the Plaza because she helped us win the Grey Cup in 2007. Our third inductee, you know, we used to talk about the Canadian Air Force. It was Fantus, and, you know, we had all the gang, Getzlaff, and we talked about all these great receivers. And then Rob Bagg, and then Weston Dressler. No, he's not Canadian. He's American. But that's kind of what it was. He was one of us. He became one of us. He played 8 of his 11 seasons in Saskatchewan. Now, Mike McCullough was on my radio show 2 days ago and said, what'd you think of Weston when he showed up? He's a camp body. Be here for a little bit. Nice little guy running around the field. Well, he made the team, went on to win the CFL's Most Outstanding Rookie Award. During his time in the green and white, he was a 4-time CFL West All-Star, 2-time CFL League All-Star. He appeared in 3 Grey Cups with the Rough Riders and, of course, won the big one in 2013. I have a quick story about Weston Dressler and how he was trusted by his coach, Ken Miller. So early on in Weston's career, when you make the team initially, you don't really know if you've made the team. And he's sitting in the offensive meeting, and he gets called out. Coach Ken wants to see you. Okay, I'm done. See you guys. Nice playing with you. Goes to coach's office. Yes, coach? Weston, my wife is going to Elton John tonight, and I'd like you to be her date. So Weston Dressler went with Maureen to Elton John. What a team guy. Let's see the video of Weston Dressler.
Handoff goes to Dressler. Dressler breaks the tackle, gets out to the 20, 25, 30. He can go! 40, 45, 50. Weston Dressler is going to score!
Comes the game, Durant play action, and looking for Dressler! Touchdown! In the red zone there. Near the bottom of the heap of the CFL. Again, another fly to the end zone. Stands. Durant, taking on the top. Dressler's wide open. Weston Dressler makes the catch and rolls towards the end zone. Touchdown.
Unbelievable. Dressler says, no problem. I'll get 2 hands on it. Grayling. Parker doesn't get there in time. He gets up and finds the end zone.
It's a block into the open field. Only Maher to stop him. Weston Dressler will score.
2009, walked into the locker room, and of course Weston's already a big name by then, and you know, just the legend of him grew in Saskatchewan, especially growing up in Regina, and you know, just actually walking in and seeing how small he was kind of the first impression, but he's bigger than life. The way he puts that work ethic in, you've seen it right away, even from a rookie. See how he put everything into football, and everything it was about the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So for myself, I was just like a little kid. I was like, oh, I watched him score a touchdown on TSN. I get to be teammates with this guy maybe one day, and then a couple of years later, our relationship flourished, and it was just wonderful.
I think the time I appreciated Weston Dressler the most was after he dropped a pass that would have likely either produced the game-winning touchdown or put the Rough Riders in position for a game-winning field goal in Calgary in 2012. I don't remember him ever dropping another pass. Weston pretty much took accountability for that loss and put it all on himself, says he should have caught that pass.
I felt like I was in a position to at least put our team in field goal range to win that game at the end of the fourth, if not possibly score. I just didn't finish the catch and didn't finish the play, so I felt like our team played well throughout the game to that point, and if I can make that play, we're still all right.
Now, why do I mention this and perhaps overemphasize a negative? Because when the Rough Riders won, which they did a lot more with Weston Dressler in the lineup than they lost, and when Weston Dressler caught the pass, which he did 99.999% of the time, and when he scored touchdowns, he was never one to say, "It's me." He would never give himself credit for his accomplishments as they related to a victory. But when the team lost a game and he felt that he hadn't made a key play, he put it on himself. And I thought, what an unselfish professional thing to do. And he was the last person ever to say, "I'm the reason the team won." But when the team lost, he put it all on himself for one play. He would only accentuate himself as an individual when he felt he should have done more, if that makes any sense whatsoever. And I thought that was so admirable about Weston Dressler, that he would take so much accountability after a loss, that yet accept no credit whatsoever after victories. And there were so many of them that could be attributed in large part to the brilliant play of Weston Dressler. Just the most selfless, team-oriented guy you're ever going to see.
He's perfect. Everybody looks at somebody who needs to be 6'6", long wingspan to be able to catch the ball. No, you just need to have that heart and that determination. And he showed that constantly, that leadership, that constant, I will get it done. I will be that person that this team needs. And it's something that, carries on to, everybody's career. You look at some of the receivers that we have in this room that have taken on from that.
You're the player that every teammate wants to have, that every coach wants to replicate, and every GM wants to bring in. Every aspect of your game was brought with 110% effort, and that's all a teammate can ask for. Your ability to catch the football, to get in and out of breaks, to get open, the big play ability, your toughness. I feel like you just had it all when it came to being a football player.
You think about the people that you're in there with. You think about the people before you, think about the people that possibly come after you, and it's just excellence. It just shows what Saskatchewan is about and what we want to be about. Just because you play for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, you also represent the province. So not only are you getting inducted into the Saskatchewan Roughriders Plaza of Honor, but you also are getting inducted into Saskatchewan history. And that's something that's huge. And we've seen it from the moment that Weston stepped on the field and started to excel. It's something that, it was just a matter of time.
What Weston did when the cameras weren't rolling was what really made him effective and made him great. I remember doing a story, I think Weston would have been in his late 20s at the time, and I said, he looks faster than ever. Weston Dressler treated every practice, every rep, everything he did with the Rough Riders like it was the last drive of the Grey Cup game.
Having a guy like you to lean on, to hold me accountable, to hold each other accountable, that's kind of teammate and friendship that you need to help develop consistent success year to year going in, and being able to train with you each and every off season. I felt like it was a big part in the longevity of my career and the chemistry that we built on the field. You brought everything to the football field, both as a leader and a player. Congratulations on your induction into the Plaza of Honor. Truly proud of you.
Weston Dressler is being celebrated as a Saskatchewan Rough Rider. And yes, he did some amazing things in Winnipeg. He was going to do amazing things wherever he played, in whatever walk of life he was involved. But this is, I think, the counterbalance to January of 2016. This is Weston Dressler being celebrated as a Saskatchewan Rough Rider, as an honorary Saskatchewanian. And we're talking about him and the great things he did in Saskatchewan.
Very happy for you, my friend. Seeing you to be able to step in there and take over, the Plaza the way you should. Just all congratulations to you. Your hard work has paid off, buddy. Love you.
And jokingly, I remember arriving at training camp that year thinking, well, at least I can't get cut before this guy who's, under 5.5 feet. But boy, was I wrong. You turned out to be, one of the most dynamic players I ever had the pleasure of playing with. You always made the play, whether it was a first quarter first down or an overtime touchdown. You were always dependable. You were always prepared, and you just always rose to the occasion. You're certainly deserving to be in this position now, and I just couldn't be more proud as a former teammate, as a lifelong friend. And a fellow receiver on that group. We just followed your lead. You were always our shining example of what it took to be prepared and what it took to be a star. So happy to see you in your rightful place here. You're going to go down certainly as one of the all-time Rider greats, and I just couldn't be more proud of you. Congratulations. Enjoy the night, man. Certainly well-deserved, and welcome to legend status.
From Weston Dressler, we saw it in the West Final. You see it game in and game out. He makes a contested catch 90% of the time. Not a big guy, but man, does he play big.
We're so excited, so happy right now. We put in so much effort, so much work to get to this moment. Now it's just time to enjoy it and soak it all in.
From putting rocks in his pocket so he could make weight to play minor football, to putting a championship rock on his finger and a Plaza of Honor rock on his finger tonight. Let's hear it for Weston Dressler.
Looking for the stool balls.
I could give you Sam.
Okay, this is just, I think, a little overwhelming for myself. Some emotions coming out that I maybe didn't expect or didn't think were going to. But first things I wanted to do is thank my parents. They're sitting right in front here. You guys supported me every step of the way, no matter what. Dad, you took me to sporting goods store to buy my own pads and helmet. Just so I could practice. Played on the practice squad for a couple years before I got to play, practicing with my brother. My dad was my first coach. Mom, I don't know if you ever actually liked football, but you watched every single game of mine. Just thank you guys for everything you did for me and allowing me to be up here tonight. So if you guys want to give me a second, give them a round of applause and I can gather myself. Congratulations, Coach Miller. Mike, Ballsy already stole my favorite Coach Miller story. But I will say this, Marine, I had a great time at Elton John with you. So, Coach, thanks for letting me do that. The boys called me the Brown-Nosed King for quite a while after that one. But Coach Miller, you were a guy for me as a rookie. I don't think I could ask for a better head coach to come into this league. I learned so much from you. You inspired me from the Sisyphus stories, pushing the rock up the hill, saying good morning every single morning, and holding us accountable to everything. The last thing you said to me after my rookie year in our exit meeting, Ballsy actually stole this story too. I remember our exit meeting, and you asked me if I knew what was on the scouting report for me coming in as a rookie that year. And I said no. You said, a good set of camp legs. And I appreciate you telling me that, because that is one thing that I'm most proud of in my time. Because I had an opportunity. It may have just been his camp legs to start, but I had an opportunity, and luckily I was young enough and naive enough to not understand how everything worked yet, and I made the most of that opportunity. So thank you for sharing that with me, and thank you for giving me that opportunity. Mike, you were a guy that, as a young American trying to learn the Canadian game, were the perfect man to learn from. You knew everything. You were the smartest man on the field. You worked your butt off every single day in practice, and I tried to emulate that as much as I could. Just a story about Mike McCullough for you guys that probably most people in this room don't know. After the 2013 year, after we won the Grey Cup, Mike retired. He told you guys he knew that was his last game playing. At that point in time, I had an opportunity to chase a lifelong dream of mine to play in the NFL. And I went to work the day after the Grey Cup game in the weight room trying to get ready for a tryout that I had lined up. Mike worked out with me. How long was it, Mike? About a month? We got after it. Mike was retired. He worked out with me every day straight until that day I had that workout. I appreciated that, Mike. So thank you for doing that. That's the ultimate teammate. And that's what Mike McCullough was. So thanks, Mike. I want to take a moment to thank a few more people. Jim Hobson's in the room. I want to thank you for giving me that opportunity. Eric Tillman, Joe Womack at the time, the guys making those decisions and the recruiting going down. I didn't know I had to go down to Texas for the Valero Cactus Bowl that winter after my last year of playing college football to meet Joe Womack, who was scouting for the Saskatchewan Roughriders at the time, but that's what it took, I guess. I guess Joe might have been the one who called me camp legs. Maybe we need to talk about that. But no, thank you, Mr. Hobson, for giving me that opportunity, for always treating all the players with the best respect that you could and representing us all extremely well. So thanks for everything that you did for me to allow me to have a place with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Coach Miller, we talked about you a little bit already. The other coach I wanted to kind of highlight was Paul LaPolice, who was our offensive coordinator and our wide receivers coach my rookie year. And I'm kind of fixated on my rookie year because I think there were so many things that could have gone differently that year that would have changed this whole story, or my whole story. So Lapo was one of those guys that I learned the game from alongside Coach Miller. He taught me a ton about the Canadian game. He gave me an opportunity. I just think that coaching staff as a whole, that culture you created, Coach Miller, the coaches didn't view me as a 5'6", maybe 170 pound, I'll give myself. You guys didn't view me in that stature. You allowed me to go out and prove myself on the field, and Coach Lapo was the same way, and I'm fortunate that I got to finish my career off with him, and it was kind of full circle for me to work with him again. But just amazing coaches that all played their part. All my coaches that I had throughout my career, really, I I'm a firm believer that we can all learn something from everybody. So I tried to take as much as I could from every coach that I had, and I definitely took a lot from the two of you as well as many others. So thanks to those guys. The other people I want to thank, Gordy and Mikey in the equipment room. I don't think they're here tonight because I haven't seen them yet, but Gordy, I think, was the only equipment manager in the league for quite a while that was special ordering the smalls for receiver gloves, but I appreciated that after my first year when I got to wear gloves that actually fit. Mikey was always there with the socks and everything, so thanks to those guys. Ivan and Trevor in the training room, the ice, the stim, the wraps, the tape jobs, all of it. Thank you guys for the attention that you put towards all of us as players, myself especially, to allow me to be ready to play every week. Obviously, football is a physical sport, but things happen, and you guys were always there to make sure we got those taken care of and got us ready for the games again. Dan Farthing, another guy that I did most of my off-season training with throughout my time here, and he was a guy that he would show up at 6 a.m. for me if it was a one-on-one session and it was something that I thought I needed. He'd show up for all of our group sessions and lead the charge for us. So he's a guy that still to this day I talk to every once in a while and will offer the shirt off his back for you if you need it. So thanks to Dan Farthing for everything you were able to do for me throughout my time. The rest of the staff, the tickets, the people working the ticket office, the rider store, the jerseys. I think Marnie got a little taste of what my career was like over the last couple weeks here. I got 31 tickets for the game tomorrow night. I got a lot of family and friends coming up, and that was pretty standard for the games when I played here as well. So thanks to all those people that helped me coordinate those and allow my family and friends to travel up here and watch games. I'm almost done here. Hold on, bear with me. All my teammates, Getz is in the house, Bag we saw in there, Fantus, Durant, receiver. You always got to thank your quarterback. You got to be in good graces with your quarterback. But all the guys that I played with, you guys made it fun. You made it a blast. We made amazing friendships, amazing memories, friendships that we'll have for the rest of our lives. So thank you guys. Second to last, I want to thank the fans of Rider Nation. I came here in 2008 as a rookie, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I think it was the second day of rookie camp that I had a police officer approach me on my way off the field after practice. Gave me his card, and he said, if you ever need anything, you give me a call. Welcome to Saskatchewan. It was pretty nice. But fortunately, I never used that card. No, Rider Nation, you guys accepted me from day one, and I can't thank you enough for everything that you offered to me. I really did feel like a Canadian player on this team. The love and support that you guys showed me throughout my time here was simply amazing. You made it incredibly fun to play here. Don't ever lose your passion and excitement and energy for the game as fans, because as players, we love that. We feed off of that, and you guys do it better than anyone else. The other things you guys did for me, from the countless different events that we get invited to, man, I had so many experiences of a lifetime playing up here for 8 years. I got to watch the Canadian Tenors from 10 feet away. I sat 10 feet away from Garth Brooks. Getz and I shared a stage with Bo Jackson. I mean, he called me Wesley the whole time. I wasn't going to correct him, but I mean, these are like Bo Jackson, you know. Snoop Dogg wore my jersey at a concert in Saskatoon. Durant's still mad at me about that. Snoop Dogg played halftime at the Super Bowl this past year, and I still have the picture of him wearing my jersey, passing it around, and my buddy's like, I thought he was going to wear it, but I guess he went with Went with the tracksuit, you know. Oh, man. You put my face on a bag of potato chips and fruit snacks. And then you went out and bought those things and ate them. Just like so many things. My dad still got boxes of those chips in his basement. They're expired now, but I think he still eats them. I don't know. So many great experiences, you guys. Memories for my lifetime. Honestly, I can't thank you guys enough. The last thing I wanted to talk about is my wife, Tegan. You guys, all the memories I have here, all the wins, all the catches, all the yards, all the touchdowns, a Grey Cup ring. You guys could take all that away from me right now, and I could care less. Because my time here, I met my wife. She's from Regina. Saskatchewan will be Regina. Saskatchewan will always have a place in our hearts as a family. I promised my boy he could come on stage, so I'm going to tell him to come up here with my wife and our 2 daughters. Come on up, Coop. Just the last thing I wanted to say to you guys, and I said it, you could take everything away, all the wins, a Grey Cup ring, any touchdown you want, any catch you want, because this is what I found in Regina, Saskatchewan right here. And I couldn't be happier. I feel like a winner if this is what I walk out with. So thank you all for giving me my family.
And I personally want to thank Weston Dressler, too. He's a superstar in North Dakota. His face is on the side of their indoor practice complex because my kid is a member of the UND football team, and he had a hand in helping that be moved along. So thank you very much, Weston, from my family. Please show your appreciation one more time for the 2022 Plaza of Honor inductees. Coach Ken Miller, linebacker Mike McCullough, and Weston Dressler. This is the second year the Plaza of Honor has been a key fundraising event for the Saskatchewan Roughrider Foundation. Proceeds from this evening's gala will go to the foundation Game Changers $1 Million campaign, which will directly support mental wellness initiatives in Saskatchewan for youth and children. Now, we've talked a lot about Ken Miller and the culture that he, along with Jim Hobson, helped to foster in this time with these 2 players and many other players like them. Well, the current organization also has a good culture under President Craig Reynolds and Coach Craig Dickinson, even though they were just fined for eating nachos in the end zone. What the hell is going on? Anyway, I'd like to call up Rough Riders and Foundation player ambassadors. Number 67, our great center, Dan Clark, and number 12, our kicker, Brett Lothar. 2 good dudes in this community to tell you more about the foundation and how they'll provide support for youth mental wellness across the province from the proceeds raised from tonight's event.
How's everybody doing this evening? Good. First off, Coach Ken Miller, Mike McCullough, Weston Dressler, congratulations. This evening is put together by everybody's hard work and everybody coming together for, you know, 3 great men. I've been very fortunate to grow up with leaders from the 3 of you guys. It's something that I take very dear and near to my heart, especially when we talk about community. Seeing the work Mike McCullough and Weston Dressler has done has put the work that I do for the Rough Riders into what exactly was put into me by those men. I am, as an ambassador to the foundation, this evening is why we do it. We have the opportunity to go out in the province and speak to thousands of kids, and especially as we launch our mental health and wellness for the province. And having that opportunity, being from Saskatchewan, allows me to know that my son and my daughter have an ability to speak to anybody about what is going on in their life. As football players, we share a bond with, at times, 70, 80 other men, with the ladies in our foundation, with the ladies in our ticket office. And we bring up the culture that if you are in need, we're always being there for you. And each step of the way, our foundation represents that. So tonight, as you have been members and been able to buy tickets and be here for us, it allows us to be able to get out in the community and spread the word that every kid has a voice, every kid has the ability to speak and be heard. And as we take on this initiative, it's something that not only myself, Brett, Mitch, and Jorgen are super excited to be able to launch our initiative and be a part of the initiative. It's something that we are very excited to hit the ground running, coming in November, having that opportunity to get out to schools again. Brett?
I think we're gonna cut to a short video here first.
Saskatchewan kids need us. In Canada, suicide is the second leading cause of death among individuals ages 15 to 34. Among youth specifically, suicide accounts for almost a quarter of all deaths of 15 to 19-year-olds in Canada. In a survey completed by Saskatchewan Alliance of Youth and Community Wellbeing, 23.4% of youth students responded yes to if they have considered suicide in the past 12 months. Since January 1st of 2021, 24% of text to kids' help phone users from Saskatchewan are about suicide.
Which means 1/4 of our total texts in Saskatchewan are about suicide. To tackle this big challenge, we need everybody on the bench to step up.
Last year, the Saskatchewan Rough Rider Foundation launched the Game Changers program, aiming to raise $1 million to bring mental wellness tools and player presentations to every school in the province.
Last year's Plaza of Honor Gala raised $120,000 to support the Game Changers program.
Since then, we've been hard at work. The foundation has teamed up with the Ministry of Education, national, provincial, and community partners to develop mental wellness programming.
The first part of the program will launch this October and bring a dedicated online Game Changers playbook available to all teachers across Saskatchewan. Our educators will have access to evidence-based tools, resources, and best practices to support their students' mental health.
The part of the program we're most excited about is getting Rider Player ambassadors out to schools to deliver in-person and virtual presentations on mental health next year.
The proper resources for students, it's incredibly challenging at times because of the long wait times. But once they can get the support that they need, you can see how things turn around for them. We definitely need more resources in our city and in our province. Once students can get that help, you can see how things improve for them and see their mental health change. I think the biggest message that they gave when they were at our school was that everyone has mental health and everyone struggles at times, and that's okay. The biggest piece is that we're talking about it and that we're open to getting the help that we need, and that the little things can make the biggest difference, like going for a walk or the breathing exercises that they led us through. Those are things that you don't need a lot of resources for, that everybody can do on their own. And that it's okay to be a big, strong athlete and to talk about mental health. Because it's the message that we as counselors have been giving for a long time, but to come from these athletes who are the role models for these students is incredibly important. And you could just see the excitement in the kids as soon as the athletes walked into the school.
So far, we've raised $500,000 out of our $1 million goal for the Game Changers program.
With your support, tonight's event will help us inch closer to our $1 million goal and begin presenting to 72 schools that are already on the wait list for our Win with Wellness presentations.
Thank you for your commitment to the youth in our province.
Awesome. Well, I think I'm going to go a little bit off topic of what I was actually going to say because a lot of it's already been said. So I just want to say thanks to Dan, Jorgen, Mitch. I mean, without Dan, I wouldn't even be able to speak in front of you guys right now. I've been to presentations, learned so much from him. And Mitch and Jorgen, I mean, the last 4 years I lived in the basement with Jorgen, and now I moved over and pawned my way into living in Mitch's basement. So super thankful for those guys and Craig and Cindy and everyone involved. But yeah, I mean, for me, just to go back to try to tie this all together and why I want to do it and be involved with this. I mean, I was drafted in 2013 to the Hamilton Tiger Cats by Ken Austin. Was lucky enough to have Luca Conji as a kicker and a guy named Andy Fantuz kind of take me under his wing. We came out to the Grey Cup here in 2013 and we lost that. And from that day on, I mean, I still can hear the Henry chants echoing in my head. And I knew that if I ever had the opportunity to get on the other sideline, that's what I wanted to do. So fast forward a few years, was with the team a little bit in 2015 and kind of in and out of the league, and same in 2017. And I was 5 years in between games. And back then I just made a promise to myself, well, actually 2 of them. And one of them was that if I ever get a chance to play football again, I mean, the number one thing I want to do is to give back to community. And I don't want to be remembered for what I do on the field. I want to be remembered for what I do off the field. So I think in today's world, we can't really relate as much to what kids are going through with the COVID and the pandemic and everything like that. But one thing we can do is when I go to these schools, everyone's so thankful for us and what we do and this and that. But for me, I mean, that means the world to me. The smile and what I get out of the kids and the energy and everything they do is what really keeps me going. So just want to close with, I guess, if you can donate and do it. And I appreciate everything this province has done for me, and I'm super thankful to be up here today. So thank you.
I'd like to call up Derek Myers and Murad and Michelle for a check presentation, please. Does somebody have a check? Because I'm a radio announcer. I don't have no check. I mean, Paul Hill pays me very handsomely, but I didn't bring my checkbook. Sorry. Just an announcement? Okay, it says in my notes a check. Well, come stand in here and get a picture taken. You guys are... We're excited to announce that our proceeds from tonight's event of $120,000 will support over 120 Win with Wellness player presentations across Saskatchewan. So let's hear it for you, for your support, for the foundation, for these great people. This will conclude tonight's formal program. Once again, congratulations to our 3 newest inductees to the SaskTel Plaza of Honor, and thank you all for joining us to help celebrate them this evening. Please feel free to stick around and visit and listen to the Beagles close out our evening. Have a safe drive home, and tomorrow night on that turf, the Riders will tame those BC Lions.
If you have program ideas that you'd like to see on Max TV Local, email us at max.local@sasktel.com.